Yo, what's up, YouTube? I'm back in another video. Today I'm gonna be reacting to Vinstagram. You know what I mean, man? Vinstagram. Shout out my boy Vinstagram, man. Yeah, I'm gonna be reacting to the dumbest car options you can buy. You know what I mean, man? Vince is doing the Lord's work right now. I like this guy's channel. I want you guys to subscribe to it. I'm going to put a link to this guy's channel in my description so you guys can check him out. You know what I mean? He's one of the best guys to do out there. No fake impressions. No like always factual. I won't talk too much. Let's get into this video, man.
Picture this, you've been working hard at your job, and after a few promotions and after a few trade-ins, you finally make enough money and you've built a relationship with the dealership to get that build slot for your dream car. You're going through the list of options and everything just seems so tempting. Leather air vent slats? Why not? Alcantara sun visors? Sure. Carbon fiber bucket seats? Of course. You've worked hard for this and you're running through options checking every box to build your dream car.
I do this
and you
shit all
realize
the
it
time.
costs how much? Will any of these options ever be worth anything on the secondhand market if you need to sell it? Even if you can afford the loss,
$40,000
how
for a
much are
pink
you
job.
going to use these options?
Hi guys, I'm Shmi and you're watching Vinstagram.
I've worked at a dozen dealerships now and I've literally driven thousands of cars from every brand. Ask me, have I driven insert brand here? Yes, at least a dozen. I've seen options that were the sole reason why a car didn't last a day on the lot and specs that are the reason the first owner lost a ton of money.
What the fuck is
Yeah,
that?
just because you can buy that option doesn't mean you always should. Today I have a list of some of the dumbest options you could put on a car and you'd be surprised how often these end up on a lot of units out there. Before we get started, let me know which option you think is the dumbest down in the comments. Now let's get into it. Number one, Alcantara on the steering wheel and in other high traffic areas. The reason race cars have Alcantara steering wheels are because combined with gloves, this increases the amount of friction between your hands and the wheel, therefore offering better grip and spirited driving situations. That being said, the majority of y'all are not driving y'all's M3s and M5s to work with driving gloves on. If you're wearing gloves in traffic, you're honestly doing too much, and if you wear full-on driving gauntlets in your family SUV, you look extremely goofy. Now I'm not
That shit is so
Alcantara
unreliable.
is a really nice feeling material. It's nice on the seats and you can actually feel how much better of a hold the seats have when they're covered in Alcantara. I'll also admit that I prefer an Alcantara headliner in cars. It looks incredible, it feels incredible. A nice Alcantara headliner certainly caters to a more luxurious ambiance over the standard fabric headliner. It doesn't hold a candle to leather headliners in my opinion, but if you can't get a leather headliner, Alcantara is definitely nice. But when you pay more money to option it on the steering wheel and other high traffic areas like the armrest and center console, you're kind of screwing yourself. Regular leather just ages so much better, and in the long run, it'll look better than Alcantara. It doesn't take long for Alcantara to start deteriorating, and it won't be long before you have an Alcantara steering wheel and center console compartment cover that are so worn to the point that they just look smooth. And Alcantara gets this hard, crusty feeling to it that makes you wish you just got leather in the first place. That's because over time, oils from your skin start to cake up on Alcantara and break it down a lot easier than it would with normal leather. I've seen some Alcantara steering wheels that are just so beat that I'd rather not touch them. They look disgusting. It's not even just cheap aftermarket stuff either. I've seen $300,000 Lambos and $150,000 BMWs with OEM Alcantara steering wheels and interior trim, and it's all just worn out before the loan's even paid off. I guarantee in 20 years, cars from the 2010s with full leather interiors are gonna pull a premium over the Alcantara cars, even though Alcantara was the more expensive option. Not to mention, in most luxury cars that aren't track focused at all, leather just looks better anyway. A lot of these high-end cars come with interiors designed with luxury in mind, not motorsport. You could have optioned an Alcantara steering wheel in an E63, but with an interior like this, why? You'd never option an Alcantara steering wheel on a Rolls Royce, and I don't even see the point in cars like M4s and C63s unless that's going to be your dedicated track car. I've for sure already discussed on this channel why Forged Carbon is a scam, but I like dunking on Forged Carbon about as much as I like dunking on Mercedes interiors and Lamborghini.
Bro, shut up, man. Why were you dunking on Mercedes guy? No, don't do that. We have one of the best interiors ever. Mercedes Benz all the way, even though I'm already gravitating towards BMWs, man. I won't lie. I'm already falling in love with the G87. I won't lie to you guys.
So let's do it again. To make a long story short, Lamborghini and Callaway, yes, the golf company Callaway, not the Callaway that modifies Corvettes. Well, kind of sort of the Callaway that modifies Corvettes, but not really. Long story. But anyways, Lamborghini and Callaway sort of collaborated on a material and developed Forged Composite, which is what it's actually called, as a cheaper alternative to carbon fiber that allows for a wider array of shapes. See, because carbon fiber is essentially a fabric that when laid in sheets on top of each other, then heated and compressed in a mold with resin, makes carbon fiber reinforced plastic, which is what we obviously see commonly used on supercars as a lighter, more rigid alternative to steel and other metal alloys. Being that it's a fabric that's woven into a twist twill pattern. It has a certain structural rigidity to it that won't allow it to bend into certain shapes very easily. Then when you stack several sheets of carbon fiber on top of each other, it increases the corner radii of a given shape and decreases the amount of surface area that a sheet of carbon can cover. With some of the things that they make out of forged composite these days, trying to do it with regular carbon fiber would be like trying to do origami with an entire stack of printer paper. Forged composite solves that problem in the same way that paper mache does, while saving the company money because number one, since it's made out of smaller pieces of carbon that aren't integrated into any sort of fabric, there's a lot more flexibility in the kind of shapes you can make. Number two, you don't have to use a loom to weave the fabric together since it's not a fabric. And number three, they can make it out of chopped up leftover carbon that they sweep off the ground after making the real carbon fiber. Then they have the audacity to charge you more money for it. This is the biggest marketing stunt Lamborghini has ever pulled off. They got y'all almost as good as Mercedes got y'all with the ambient lights, but me personally, I'm not.
Guy, what is wrong with you and Mercedes, guy? What is your problem with you and Mercedes, bro? What is your problem? You've already cheated on Mercedes twice now. This is just 5 minutes in.
Always get so heated over this issue because you literally have dudes who will flex the fact that they paid more money for the particle board, the literal particle board of carbon composites. What's even more wild is that not all forged composites are created equal. Some of them aren't even forged. When a company says chopped carbon, that's literally what it is. They're not understating it. They drop chopped up pieces of leftover carbon into a mold and just let the resin dry over it. No pressure, no heat, and that's literally what the forging process is. The pressure gives it strength and density, and the heat rids it of impurities. You can tell when companies aren't doing this properly because if I have to give Lamborghini credit, what they're selling you is actually forged composite. You can tell because the carbon actually looks like it's been smushed together. You can't tell where the shards of carbon begin and end because they've been under such immense pressure that they all mended together. That's the entire point. But more often you'll see companies take the shortcut and still charge the same or more than regular carbon for some cheap BS that was never properly made. And this time I'm not talking about some random aftermarket company on Alibaba. I'm talking about Lexus. I'm talking about Range Rover. Although at least Lexus treats it like the particle board that it is. If you didn't know, the carbon hood on the RCF Track Edition is actually mostly made of forged composite. And then they simply put a sheet of woven twill carbon fiber on top because it simply looks better and isn't a cheap substitute. That's like if they just started building houses and instead of putting hardwood or carpet on the floor, they just put a clear lacquer over the bare particle board because that's exactly what forged carbon is. Particle board is leftover chopped up wood from the sawmill, dropped into a press, and incorporated with lacquer or wax and treated with heat to increase structural rigidity. It's good at what it does, which is being a cheaper alternative to hardwood that still maintains most of the structural integrity. But again, finishing the chopped carbon with gloss and now matte lacquer and selling it for more money is like if it costed more money to build a house and to just leave the particle board exposed instead of putting hardwood or drywall or whatever, carpet, whatever you want to put on top of it to finish it. For real audiophiles that turn on the music every time they get in the car, for those that really value a nice evening drive while blasting some good tunes, especially those that listen to a lot of stuff with Dolby Atmos and lossless audio, I totally get why you would want the best possible audio. But a lot of cars, especially a lot of premium cars nowadays, have really good audio as standard, and it always kills me when someone flexes their audio, but then I ride with them and they never play music in their car. If they do, the volume will be on like 2 out of 100 listening to the radio, which at that point you can't even tell the difference because the audio will be compressed to all hell anyways. Dudes will spend $5,000 on Burmester 8D surround sound THX Beats by Dre audio or whatever the hell just to listen to AM radio broadcasts of college football. Also, if the premium audio option for your vehicle is branded with like Beats by Dre or JBL or something, it's absolutely not worth the money. At that point, you're probably paying like $1,000 to upgrade from your trash speakers to some slightly less shitty trash speakers. Never have I gotten in a car with Beats by Dre audio and thought, this is significantly better than the standard option. Never. Beats headphones have always been kind of overrated, so why would you think spending the extra money for some Beats branded speakers are gonna be any better? But that's the thing, I don't think a lot of people out there have actually experienced like real premium audio. So Beats headphones absolutely sound leaps and bounds better than some skull candy earbuds from the bottom of your book bag in 2012. And I guess someone who's upgrading to a new Volkswagen from like a 1998 Corolla, the Beats audio, if it's on the lot and that's what's optioned in that car, it's absolutely going to be way better than the 98 Corolla, but only like a marginal amount over what the standard speakers would have been, because again, like I've driven literally like hundreds of Volkswagens at this point and I've never noticed a difference between like the Beats audio and the standard speakers that come in that car. But that's not to say that all the branded audio upgrades are bad. I've never gotten in a car with Harman Kardon speakers and thought it wasn't worth the money. Bang & Olufsen, Bowers & Wilkins, and even Bose speakers are actually pretty good. I know in Porsches you can get the Bose upgrade, but you can also go for the Burmester upgrade. But if you were never really into high quality audio anyways, and that's like your first Porsche Porsche, the Bose system is surely good enough. It's actually really good. The Burmester system will have your car levitating, but if you can't swing the $4,000 upgrade, that's understandable. And if the used example you're looking at doesn't have it, then honestly, I wouldn't stress. The Mark Levinson systems in Lexus are also incredible, and the most underrated, arguably the best system out there that I've experienced in recent times, is not a Mercedes, it's not in a BMW, not in a Cadillac, but it has to be the new Macintosh 23 speaker reference audio system in the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. When I want to test how good the speaker system is in a car, I'll play some songs that I've pretty much heard in every car that I've driven. And when you go up a tier in audio, it's commonly known, like you'll see the memes on social media where like you'll start to hear things you never heard in a song you've been listening to for 5 years. And I put on We Paid and the Grand Wagoneer, and that 42 Doug whistle sounded like it was coming from the heavens. Like, I'm not gonna lie, all the German brands have great audio at this point, but Jeep was really on one with this one. Like this might be the best one that I've ever heard in my life. But that being said, if you don't like to turn up the audio, you don't actually download high quality audio files, and you really just listen to podcasts on the way to work, or maybe you even prefer to raw dog entire road trips, it's honestly just not worth the upgrade. I will say though, the right buyer will pay a premium for premium audio on the secondhand market, so really you should consider the extent to which you'd use the premium audio and how long you want to own the car, and whether it would even matter if you have the audio or not, and what kind of premium audio systems are available. Because a GT4 RS buyer isn't going to care about the Bose speakers as much as a GT63 buyer will care for the Burmester 4D audio. This one's kind of funny because I find my opinions conflicting with what's actually true. Manufacturer accessories are often not worth the money. A Bentley glasses case is like a $500 option. Think about what it look like going to lunch with somebody who doesn't see Bentleys often, and you go inside, you take off your sunglasses, and you don't put them in your glasses case. You put them in your glasses case. What a fucking prick you look like. Not to mention, if you get a nice pair of sunglasses, they probably already come with a nice leather case anyways. Like, I got some Ray-Bans and I low-key optioned the nicer leather case, and it's pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously not as nice as the dark Burlwood glasses case, but it surely gets the job done. I don't even really use a glasses case like that. You know, I don't understand people who smoke in cars. You lose thousands of dollars of value as soon as you smoke your first pack of cigs in that thing, and then it smells like you just opened a pack of cigs 30 minutes ago 2 years later. Like, how do you even live like that? I literally do not understand the logic of people who smoke in their car. Like, damn, are you that much of a fiend that you can't wait until you get home? Some people are such heavy car smokers that they feel inclined to spend $80 on a Porsche ash cup. Granted, it's designed to specifically fit in the cup holder of the car you're ordering, so it's not just some generic little $10 ash cup that might stay upright, that might spill over and get your ashes all over your interior. But $80 for an ash cup is insane. It seems like every company does this too. Here's Ford's ash cup that comes with a lighter element for $75. Look, I don't smoke, so I don't know, but like, is it ever that deep? In most cases, besides like watches and Ferrari luggage, manufacturer accessories generally are not worth it. Speaking of Ferrari luggage, that might actually be something that's like directly worth it, because I have heard of people selling it at a premium on eBay. Likewise with the Porsche design watches and stuff like that, but other than that, I wouldn't really stress about the small stuff. The craziest one though is how Toyota sells a charging package, which is literally like 2 cables for like $80. And a lot of dealerships just automatically option this for cars that they put on the lot. So a lot of people will buy the cars, not read the window stickers, not realize that their car comes with a pack of $80 cables. So then they'll sell it back to another dealership when they're getting another car, and they'll leave a fresh pack of $80 cables inside the glove compartment. Somehow at car dealerships, these cables end up making it under our desk. Like, every time I see a red and black cable on somebody's desk, I'm like, that's the Toyota charging cables, aren't they? And the next owner probably won't care about it either, because they're not going to read the window sticker either, even if it's still there. So if you're speccing a new Toyota, don't get the $80 cables, but if you're buying a car off the lot, look at your window sticker. If it has the cables, use them, because you're dead ass financing some $80 cables, which really means you're paying more so like $100 just to plug your phone in. Crazy. Sometimes bigger wheels look better. Not 32 big, but like 23 big. A lot of the times even 22 or 23 inches is a pretty big wheel on most vehicles. But there's no way in a hypothetical world that I could afford a Urus and I would actually want a Urus that I'll be riding around on some 21s. That being said, 21s on a lot of cars is entirely too big. You put 21s or bigger on an SUV, then you have to go with thinner tires, which means you're sacrificing all-terrain capabilities and ride quality that you bought the SUV for. You put 21s on a sports coupe, and again, you're sacrificing ride quality, unnecessarily increasing unsprung mass, therefore making it harder to turn and harder to stop, and decreasing the amount of tire wall, which again decreases the ride quality and makes for less grip under high stress conditions. A lot of BMW guys who actually drive their cars hard will literally buy competition models, then swap the wheels out for the 18s on the base model. While they offer offer bigger wheels on the competition models is absolutely beyond me. Beamer Post has been all over this topic as well. The McLaren F1 came out in the 90s, still has more horsepower than most cars on the road today, and was sporting 17-inch wheels. Any BMW guy that actually tracks their cars usually goes for a lighter set of one-piece forged 18 or 17-inch wheels. Dudes that drag race their cars sometimes go for even smaller wheels and even taller tires depending on what kind of power they're running and what their transmission and suspension can handle. But I honestly understand this option the most because not a lot of car companies offer good-looking 16, 17, or 18-inch wheels. And often the 16, 17, or 18-inch wheels aren't the forged option either. And often you'll notice that the wheel well is designed with a 20-inch or a 21-inch wheel in mind, or a lot of cases these new SUVs 23-inch wheels in mind. So as far as fitment goes, especially if you're not trying to spend any money lowering the car, a 20 or a 21-inch wheel usually looks better than an 18-inch wheel nowadays. But I don't understand why they won't just design sports car wheel arches and fenders with the smaller wheel in mind for these performance cars. Because even if you look at these supercars that are running like 20, 21, and 22-inch wheels on the street cars, their race car variants are running 18-inch wheels on some meaty tires. Like for reference, a Huracan Evo is running a 20-inch wheel up front and a 21-inch wheel around the back, whereas a Super Trofeo race car is running a super wide 18-inch wheel with some super thick tires. This is an actual performance setup. This is purely cosmetics. Like if you notice, the Hellcat came with some pretty big wheels too, but when they threw 1,000 horsepower at that car with a trans brake and launch control and all that to go drag racing, what did they do? They already knew the car didn't hook up with 700 horsepower, so they gave us some thick boys in the back and some pizza cutters up front. The big wheels are almost always the worst option for performance and practicality. Porsche guys aren't going to want to hear this last one, but most car enthusiasts are not turning corners hard enough to warrant having bucket seats. So you see people spending
Thank you very much, oh bro. Thank you very much for that. Please, you have done it. You are the best. Thank you. Thank you. Bucket seats, bro. Nobody. Man, this guy, man, you are the goods.
Of dollars to upgrade the bucket seats and sacrifice seat heating, ventilation, adjustment, an actual comfortable place to sit down. And for what? Okay, I can't lie, they do look cool. They look cool. Denying that is like saying 1 + 1 = 3. Trust me, when I get to a point where I can afford a GT3, I am absolutely looking for one with bucket seats. My dream E92 M3 build has custom reupholstered G80 carbon bucket seats. To be honest, those aren't the worst offenders though. You can adjust the back on those, and I think the people saying they're uncomfortable are really blowing it out of proportion. Usually it's older guys or guys that should probably be on a diet, and in that case it ain't the seat's fault, buddy. But I'll shut up about it. I'll let those guys keep optioning those seats as long as they want, because I've heard of them trading seats, like even trades with guys my age who just want the bucket seats. I've even heard of older guys selling their G80s and then ordering another G80 right after to get the one with the comfort seats. As for the Porsche guys, yeah, those look sick too, I can't blame you. But it genuinely does make that car harder to want to drive on a regular basis. In my experience driving with the bucket seats, once you're in, as long as you're not big backed or old, you're gonna be fine, honestly. They're not too uncomfortable. But getting in and out over and over and over again makes spending 24 hours with one kind of hard to imagine. People love to whine and cry about Lamborghini bucket seats, but if we're talking about these, you're tripping. These are actually perfectly fine, and if you have the bread, I don't see why you wouldn't option these. Older Lambo bucket seats though, I totally understand. Those don't look comfortable at all. So really when it comes to bucket seats, it really depends on a per car basis. I would go and actually test sit in some bucket seats, and I would also consider what the market is like. Do people prefer the bucket seats? Do people not? For example, like the Porsche bucket seats are kind of middle of the road. BMW bucket seats really aren't that bad. New Lamborghini bucket seats, again, not that bad as well. So you really have to consider, like, do you want the bucket seats? And also how desirable of an option are the bucket seats from that specific brand? Because you know the most uncomfortable bucket seats that I've ever been in would have to be a close tie between both of the options that you can get from McLaren. Otherwise, McLarens are very usable cars on a daily basis. I know a guy who had a 720S Spider with the base seat. It was actually the first supercar I ever photographed, and he drove that thing every single day. I think he had like 30,000 miles on it by the time it sold. But as soon as you modify that base interior setup with more extreme options, like in the LT you don't get carpet or sound insulation, and you can also option for the bucket seats, which are just not nice at all. Because if you're not fully locked in, both the 675 LT style bucket seats and the Senna style bucket seats can be absolutely nauseating. The fact that they sit you in such an uncomfortable upright position, combined with the fact that every single vibration in the car gets fed up through your spine from the carbon fiber, is just not a great time. If you're buying a McLaren and you want to actually drive it like a lot, get the base seats. Please, if you listen to anything in this video, get the base seats in the McLaren. You will be just fine. Then again, like I said, the bucket seats for some reason in the McLarens are very sought after. Even when they come out of like total cars, they're like 30 grand on eBay. So it's just a case of like, how often do you want to use the car, and do you care about how much of a premium it might pull with the Senna style bucket seats or the LT style bucket seats? And I know I just made my second video dunking on Mercedes interiors, but the only bucket seats I've ever sat in and thought, actually, these are pretty nice, guys, I could probably do a 1,000-mile road trip in these, are the ones in the Mercedes. I'm still waiting on an OEM to come out with a bucket seat that's heated and ventilated, but as far as I know, Mercedes has the only bucket seat that's viable on a daily basis for any type of person with any type of build.
Man, this guy have said it all. Like, there's nothing more to say, honestly. He has done, he covered everything. Man, bro, thank you very much for watching the video, man. I don't know what to say, bro. Like, I'm just so, you know, I'm happy that he covered everything that was important in the video. Like, bro, like, seriously. But, I mean, I think he should do a video on car prices right now. Like, you know, used car prices, you know, and all that. Like, the car prices are staggering. Like, they're so insane, you know. And they're not even willing to go down. That's the thing. Thanks for watching this video, man. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.